Our story begins with our heroine, Susie, who is choosing a very expensive gift from the makeup store next door where she works. She calls her friend Lara to remind her about their lunch date today. Unfortunately, Lara calls her back and says that she won't be able to go out today because she has a lot of work and other commitments. Before Susie can ask anything further, Lara hangs up abruptly. Susie is upset with her friend but decides to leave her be and sends her a message saying they'll arrange another time. Maybe she's busy or some other reason, but Lara doesn't respond. Susie then goes to work. We find out she works at a large jewelry and imported watches store. She holds a high position, almost like a manager. Special clients come specifically to her because of her polite manner and her attractive appearance. Her manager trusts her completely and never reprimands her, allowing her to handle things her way. One day, a well-dressed, sophisticated-looking customer comes in. Susie gets excited, thinking she might make a big sale today. She shows him the most expensive watch set she has, including her favorite watch, and convinces him to buy it. He seems interested and says he will, but then he suddenly gets a phone call and leaves without purchasing. Susie doesn't worry much and waits for another customer, but the day remains quiet. Later, when it's time to close, Susie is shocked to find out that the diamond watch she had shown the customer is missing. All the staff are terrified. They know they could never recover a watch, let alone a diamond from it. Susie calms them down, saying the watch was with her and that she was showing it to the customer, so she is responsible. She checks the security cameras and sees the watch last with the well-dressed man leaving the mall. It's clear to her that he stole it. Determined to recover it before it's sold, she goes to her manager and asks for a week's time to retrieve it, promising to cover the cost if it's not returned. Because the manager trusts her, he allows it. Susie begins her investigation and manages to track the thief. She discovers that his name is Jin and that he owns a large factory. She goes to his factory and asks to speak to him. When he refuses, she threatens to report him to the police for possessing the stolen watch. Jin tells her that the watch he has is a fake and the real one has already been sent to a client, but he offers her time to act without getting involved with the authorities. Susie insists she wants the watch immediately and plans to handle it herself. Jin initially avoids signing any agreement, but eventually, after she persists, he signs a paper promising to return the watch once she finds it. 2 hours later, Jin calls her with a location. When she goes, he returns the watch, but she notices a small scratch on the strap. Jin tries to convince her to buy the strap, arguing that it's inexpensive and he'll offer her a good deal. Susie, a strong and determined woman, refuses to be intimidated and eventually agrees to buy the strap, receiving payment immediately. Jin also invites her to dinner to get to know her better, revealing he's of Chinese and Korean descent and runs a large factory with many employees. Susie cautiously maintains her professionalism but introduces herself and tells him he can contact her for any jewelry needs. They dine together, and when the evening gets late, Susie excuses herself and leaves. The next day at work, Susie returns the watch to her manager, who is delighted, especially with the strap included. Suddenly, a colleague rushes to tell her that a regular customer is waiting. Susie goes to him and finds out it's Song, a client who always buys jewelry for Lara. Susie tells him that Lara was supposed to go out with her yesterday, but canceled, and asks about her well-being. Song passes on her regards to Lara. Suddenly, Susie receives a call from her other client, Jackie, who also often buys very expensive jewelry from her. When Susie goes to check on her, she finds Jackie on the floor, her belongings shattered around her. Susie helps her and notices bruises on Jackie's back, realizing immediately who was responsible. Jackie hopes Susie can help her, but Susie pretends not to notice and acts detached. She tells Jackie that she can't interfere in the affairs of powerful clients. Jackie's husband ends the discussion, and Susie helps Jackie pick out new jewelry for him. Susie notices Jackie's sadness and would like to help, but Jackie is focused on her career advancement and cannot intervene. Despite Susie's help, no one will support her, and the man in question remains dangerous. Later, Susie buys an expensive cake to celebrate her mother's birthday. When she arrives, she helps her mother prepare lunch and notices that most of the knives are in the drawer. She asks why, and her mother explains she was just cleaning them. Susie's brother John also arrives, and the family gathers to celebrate. Their father, a strict and temperamental man, creates tension, but John lightens the mood by singing happy birthday to their mother. Susie notices that time has passed quickly and prepares to leave. The next morning, she hears loud screams coming from her mother's room and realizes that the situation is escalating. Susie goes to check on her mother and is shocked to find her father furious, grabbing his anger out on her mother. In that moment, Susie realizes why her mother always endured his outbursts. She sees her mother gathering the knives and notices that ever since since Suzy was little, her father has always caused chaos whenever he was angry, and her mother would silently tolerate it. This time, however, Suzy gets angry and tells her father that if he ever mistreats her mother like that again, she will report him to the police and take John with her, and he will never see them again. Her mother tries to calm her, saying that he acts that way because he's not in his right mind and that by morning, things will be better. Suzy, however, insists that she knows exactly how to deal with him. The next day, Suzy takes him to the police station, telling him to confess all his crimes. Unfortunately, he is unstable and refuses, warning her that if she pursues the matter, everyone will suffer. He insists that she's busy and that nobody has ever protected her mother like she should. Suzy eventually leaves, remembering how powerless she felt as a child whenever she saw him mistreat her mother. Even at school, her classmates would bully her, except for Lara, who would comfort her, share her food and money, understanding that Suzy's family wasn't wealthy. From that time, Suzy has loved Lara deeply, seeing her as the sister her mother never gave her. After dealing with her father, Suzy calls Lara to ask where she is. Lara says she's at home. Suzy insists they have lunch together as she hasn't seen her in a long time, but Lara suddenly says she's busy and hangs up abruptly. Suzy isn't concerned and decides to surprise her anyway. She goes to Lara's house but finds the door locked and assumes she's not home. Suddenly, the door opens and Lara grabs a box and closes the door, shocking Suzy. Suzy calls out to her, saying she wants to talk about something important, but Lara refuses and tells her to leave immediately. Suzy remembers the password Lara had once told her, tries it, and the door opens. When she enters, she is shocked by Lara's appearance. Suzy leaves, unsure what to do or how to help her friend. She recalls memories of when Lara once rescued her at the beach. Suzy had decided to take a leap into the water but wasn't prepared. Lara, who also couldn't swim, had acted bravely to save her. Now, Suzy doesn't know how to help her. The next day, Suzy meets Jin and apologizes for drinking too much the night before. She leaves immediately for work when he reminds her she's late. On the way, she bumps into one of Jin's workers, who looks like a worn-out version of Song. Before Suzy can ask anything, Jin calls the worker away. Suzy continues to work, and Jin later calls requesting a watch like the one from the previous encounter. She takes one to deliver to him. At that moment, the news reports that Jackie, the client she failed to help, has died. Suzy is shocked and overwhelmed with guilt, realizing her cold reaction and failure to assist Jackie contributed to her suffering. Jin reassures her that Jackie's death wasn't her fault, but Suzy is still shaken. She hurries to check on Lara, fearing the worst. She finds Lara on the balcony, distraught, saying she can't endure her suffering any longer. Suzy runs to her, assuring her she will help and not make the same mistake she did with Jackie. She promises to protect Lara and save her from Song's abuse. Lara asks how, and Suzy promises to help her escape Song. A flashback shows the day Suzy had called Lara for lunch. Lara had originally intended to meet her, but changed her mind at the last moment, deciding to flee the country to escape Song. She packed her things and went to the airport, hoping finally to be free from his torment. Suddenly, Song calls her and sends a video of her mother in the hospital, threatening her if she doesn't return. Frightened, Lara is forced to return, taking a taxi back home. When she arrives, she is shocked to see that her cat, Tear, is missing. Song, a mentally unstable and obsessive man, has already decided to punish her for attempting to leave. He changes his clothes and plays music to prevent anyone from hearing her cries. As usual, after completing his actions, he presents it as if she is at fault, teaching her discipline. Lara has no choice but to comply, knowing that if she resists, no one will protect her. Over time, she becomes accustomed to this routine, feeling trapped and powerless. Lara reflects on her past. As a child, she was a famous artist and writer, beloved by all the children. She had an exhibition, and Song admired her cheerful creations. She thought marrying a wealthy, handsome man like him would bring her peace, but she had no idea about the dark reality behind the scenes. Song is a mentally unstable, obsessive man with psychological issues. Her happiest moments were when he left her alone at the company. She would drink lemon juice in her secret corner at home to escape. One day, while resting in her secret spot, she fell asleep and overslept, realizing only 10 minutes remained before Song returned. Panicked, she tried to cook or do anything, but the chaos escalated. The door suddenly opens. Song has arrived. For the first time, Lara resists without panicking. Song prepares the meal for her and monitors her actions with cameras, treating her like a caged bird. Over time, Lara's life becomes more isolated, even from Suzy, who can only communicate minimally. Song, meanwhile, has a full life outside and continues his controlling behavior. One day, Song has a business meeting with Mai, a high-ranking executive hoping to impress her and secure a promotion. During the meeting, Lara calls him to remind him about vitamins, showing that despite her captivity, she cares about his health. Song interprets this as affection, unaware of her suffering. Later, when Song returns from the company, he gives Lara a new jewelry set and asks her to return the old ones. He continues buying her extravagant gifts, controlling every aspect of her life. One day, he takes her shopping to select modest clothing for a visit to her mother's house. Lara listens to her mother speak against domestic violence, feeling trapped because she cannot reveal the abuse to her mother or intervene with Song. She even considers having children, reflecting the depth of her entrapment. Lara makes up her mind. She goes to a doctor and asks him to write a medical report stating that she has bruises all over her body. She takes the report to the police station to file an official complaint against Song. She completes all the paperwork and everything seems to be going well until suddenly Jenny appears. Jenny is Song's sister, a police investigator working at the same station. When she sees Lara there, she rushes toward her and asks if someone is bothering her. Lara quickly lies and says she's only there for a friend who was assaulted, nothing more. She takes the papers and leaves immediately before Jenny connects the situation to Song and tells him because if he finds out, he would punish her again. Jenny follows her outside and tells her she just wants to give her some advice for her friend. She suggests resolving things amicably between the spouses, saying that going to court won't help. The law doesn't really punish husbands harshly. At most, he'd pay compensation and then return home to continue as before. Lara realizes there is no hope of escaping Song and that even Jenny doesn't want trouble or to help her. She keeps everything to herself and never exposes Song's crimes. When Lara returns home, she convinces herself that Song won't know what happened and that the day will pass peacefully. But suddenly, he tells her to change clothes and come to the bedroom immediately. She makes an excuse saying the beetroot is finished and she needs to go buy some to make juice. He opens the fridge and finds beetroot inside, realizing she's lying. He accuses her of deceiving him, punishes her, then forces her to make the juice anyway. He drinks it shamelessly, showing just how cruel and heartless he is. After that, he orders her to cook. At that moment, Susie calls just to check on her. Lara avoids answering. Then a delivery notification arrives. When Lara opens the door, she is shocked to find Susie standing there. She quickly pulls her inside and hides her in the secret room so Song won't notice, because there are cameras everywhere. As soon as Susie sees Lara, she is horrified. She asks who did this to her. Lara lies, saying she fell and hurt herself. Susie doesn't believe her. She knows Song did this. She also notices the necklace Lara is wearing, the one Song bought recently, and realizes that every necklace he ever bought her was a gift after abuse. She is shocked by how many necklaces there are, how much Lara has suffered in silence, and how close she is to breaking completely. Susie insists on calling the police, but Lara stops her, saying it will take too long and Song will kill her before the case ends. She asks Susie at least to talk to Song and try to understand why he does this. Lara says he does it because he loves her, and that she endures it because he is her husband. Susie rejects this completely and refuses to leave unless she confronts Song, but Lara manages to force her to go. In return, she promises to check in every day. Susie apologizes for neglecting her lately and promises she will never let Song hurt her again. Lara feels relieved. She had been feeling alone, but her relief doesn't last. She learns that Song is taking her to meet investor Mai. He orders her to look perfect, act classy, stay close to him, and charm Mai using her art background. If the deal succeeds, he promises her a beautiful gift. Instead, Lara does the opposite. She drinks heavily, distances herself, and sits alone. Song notices and angrily tells her to stop drinking and go talk to Mai. She does, and completely ruins everything. She tells Mai that she doesn't know how to paint and that everyone only flatters her because she's rich. Mai gets furious. Song drags Lara away and leaves before things get worse. Lara realizes that this time, Song might truly kill her. She begs him to let her apologize to Mai, but he drags her into the car and drives recklessly. Terrified, she decides to escape when he stops at a supermarket. Just as she's about to run, Susie arrives in time and saves her. Susie promises she will end Song and give Lara the life she deserves. Suddenly, they hear the door. Song has returned. Susie hides. Lara tries to reason with him, but he doesn't care. He punishes her again. Susie hears everything, frozen in fear, unable to step out. Song threatens Lara, then leaves. Susie rushes to Lara, who breaks down, saying she can't endure anymore and that only death will free her. Before Susie can help, Lara attempts to end her life. Song runs in at the last second, saves her, performs CPR, and calls an ambulance, but then panics. If doctors see the bruises, he'll be exposed, so he cancels everything and waits until she wakes up. When Lara regains consciousness, she tells him that if he doesn't remove the cameras, she will try to escape every single day. She grabs scissors, threatening again. Terrified, Song agrees and destroys all the cameras in front of her. For the first time, Lara feels a small victory. She messages Susie, "I'm sure now. We must get rid of Song." Susie starts planning. She goes to Jin and reminds him of something he once said, that Jackie because she couldn't escape her husband. Jin confirms it. Suzy asks what happens if evidence disappears. Jin explains that without a body, there's no case. That's when Suzy remembers the man who looked exactly like Song. She finds him, Kim, an illegal immigrant from China with no family. She shows his photo to Lara. He is Song's exact double. The plan is simple. Eliminate Song, replace him with Kim, send Kim to China, and erase everything. Suzy approaches Kim and offers him a new life, documents, money, and a future, in exchange for disappearing forever. Kim agrees immediately. Meanwhile, Song loses the deal with Mai and becomes desperate. He hacks accounts, stalks Suzy, and finally uses Lara's phone to invite Suzy to dinner. At the restaurant, Song spills a drink on Lara to send her away, then tells Suzy he saw her hiding in the closet and accuses Lara of being mentally unstable. He claims everything he does is to protect her. Suzy doesn't believe him. Song forces her into a deal, help him fix things with Mai, and he'll stop hurting Lara for a while. Left with no choice, Suzy agrees. She convinces Mai to give Song another chance. The deal succeeds. Song gets millions. While he's busy, Suzy and Lara move forward with their plan. Suzy takes Kim to get the same haircut as Song. He looks identical. Jenny sees them by coincidence and mistakes Kim for Song, but gets interrupted and leaves. Suzy explains everything to Kim. Tomorrow, he leaves the country. That same night, Suzy and Lara decide they must act. They go to the mountain and dig a grave. Tonight, they will end Song. Song was still monitoring them through the cameras he had secretly left behind. He noticed some unusual activity but couldn't focus because he was occupied with the business deal. The deal finally concluded successfully. Song received his promotion and a big celebration was thrown for him since he became the vice president. However, he was shocked when he received a message. The visa for Hideo had finally arrived and the flight to China was scheduled for 10 a.m. the next day. A sense of unease settled over him. When he returned home, his suspicions were confirmed. Suzy and Lara had set a trap. The moment he saw them, they rushed at him, tying him up with ropes. Song, relentless and stubborn, tried to resist and almost overpowered both of them, but Suzy, skilled in taekwondo, managed to subdue him again. They tied him firmly and ensured he couldn't move. To double check, they even used a large ball to secure him further. Suddenly, Lara's neighbor appeared, carrying some oranges. Lara panicked, worried someone would see them, so they quickly cleaned everything up. They then packed Song's belongings into a suitcase. Meanwhile, Jenny began noticing that Suzy and Kim were meeting frequently and tried to call Suzy to investigate, but she ignored him. Kim, the Song lookalike, prepared for his departure. He told Jenny he would travel, lying about the details, saying he would leave by sea. Kim got his haircut to match Song's, went to Lara and Suzy's house, and they were shocked at how elegant he looked. Lara didn't have the courage to face him and hid. Suzy dressed Kim in Song's expensive clothes, packed his luggage, and even gave him Song's phone so he could use it in China. This ensured that once abroad, no one would investigate further. They took Kim to the airport, leaving Lara alone. Suddenly, she saw Jenny nearby. Scared that Jenny would notice something, Lara hurried away. Suzy handed Kim Song's phone and instructed him to use it carefully once he reached China. She called Lara afterward to confirm that everything was on track. Kim moved from the airport and would reach China in a few hours. Overjoyed, Lara broke some electronics in celebration, prepared herself, and awaited Suzy. Together, they carried Song's packed luggage up the mountain to the prepared spot. Lara was extremely nervous, but Suzy reassured her no one would know, and even if Song disappeared, investigations would only find that he traveled to China. They hit a small obstacle along the way, but Suzy quickly calmed Lara down. They covered the area with dirt, completing the plan. On the way back, Lara laughed like a madwoman, overwhelmed with relief. She finally felt free from the nightmare, ready to live a new life without fear, violence, or abuse. To celebrate, they bought fireworks, had lunch at a restaurant, and enjoyed themselves fully. Suzy received a message confirming that Kim had safely arrived in China and even sent a photo as proof. Lara was ecstatic. The plan had succeeded. However, back home, they faced a scare. A security officer noticed something on his patrol, a trace of blood in the car. He suspected Lara had hit a deer, but insisted on checking the car. Lara was horrified to find the suitcase containing the evidence they had used in their plan. Suzy quickly instructed Lara to move fast and leave before being caught. Luckily, the officer received another urgent report and had to leave, allowing them to escape without inspection. Once home, Lara cleaned the car thoroughly. Jenny called her to inquire about Song. Lara told her that he had been missing from work for some time and that the last she saw of him, he had packed his suitcase. She mentioned that his passport was gone, suggesting he had left the country. Jenny was shocked. Why would her brother travel without informing anyone? She instructed Lara to let them know if she received any communication from him. Investigations at Song's company revealed that he had embezzled a large sum of money from Mai and disappeared. His colleagues suspected that he had moved the funds abroad. Meanwhile, Song's mother confronted Lara, furious that he had left without anyone knowing. Lara explained that she had no knowledge of his departure. They argued, with his mother blaming Lara for allowing him to go so far. Jenny reviewed airport footage and saw Kim leaving, mistaking him for Song at first due to the uncanny resemblance. She later called their mother to inform her that her brother had indeed traveled to China, but had stolen a significant amount of money from Mai. She warned that the case should be closed quickly. With the promotion secured and the embezzlement problem resolved, Lara informed Suzy that the situation was stable and no one would investigate further. Finally, Lara could rebuild her life. She bought the pistachios she had long wanted, went out with Suzy for shopping, and enjoyed herself like never before. She also spent long hours with her mother in the hospital to ensure she was well. Suzy went to Mai to apologize and returned the stolen money, explaining that she had no involvement in the theft. Mai was satisfied and grateful. Lara called Suzy to share the good news. The case was closed. No one would look for them again. Lara then fully resumed her life, enjoying her freedom. She began working at a factory, proving herself diligent from day one. She wore beautiful outfits, a stark contrast to her previous depressed appearance. Security guards and even Jenny noticed the transformation. Song's mother, who had been cruel and intrusive before, now had nothing over her. After work, Lara would check everything herself. Jenny noticed her dedication and admired it, though she also sympathized after seeing the bruises Lara had endured. Lara then invited Suzy and Jin for dinner as a celebration. For the first time in years, Lara felt safe, empowered, and free. Meanwhile, Suzy continued ensuring Kim's cover was perfect and that Song's absence would raise no alarms. Everything had finally fallen into place. Lara was shocked when Kim confronted her, demanding $3 billion and threatening to expose them, claiming he would reveal that they had dealt with Sung. She panicked, unsure how to get rid of him or what to do. Just then, Lara entered with a large amount of money, explaining that she had sold all her jewelry to pay Kim off. Suzy reminded her that if Kim stay around, exploit them, and constantly threaten them, they needed to get rid of him once and for all. Meanwhile, the authorities reported the security guard, and Jenny took over the case. When reviewing the security footage, she noticed the guard's last interaction was with Kim. Naturally, she assumed it was her brother Sung and feared it could affect her promotion, so she deleted all footage showing Kim. Suzy, after checking that Lara was safe, went to work, but Kim appeared, threatening her. If she didn't pay the money, he would expose them. Suzy remained calm and told him to do whatever he wanted. There was no evidence against them. Kim then pulled out Sung's phone, showing that the last known location of Sung was at the mountain, implying that if he investigated there, he would find Sung. He was dangerous and ruthless and wouldn't leave them alone until he got the money. Suzy told him to be patient, promising to deal with him later. Kim sent a message to Sung's mother, demanding money, claiming he was being chased out by others. When she saw him, she was relieved that he was back and agreed to give him all the money he wanted. Kim took what he needed and ordered her not to contact anyone or reveal his return. He then went out, met his friend from the factory, and used Sung's mother's money. At the same time, Jenny called, realizing that Kim and his friend had caused chaos. She went to check and found Kim unconscious, with money in his possession. She was surprised at where he got it. She also discovered Sung's expensive phone containing pictures of Lara. She realized why he had been spying on Suzy and Kim. They had staged everything to replace Sung with Kim, unaware that Kim was extremely dangerous, pretending to be harmless in front of Suzy while being a fugitive and a killer from China. Despite the danger, Kim chose to help them. He contacted Lara to see if she needed assistance, but she denied it, focusing on opening the safe. She tried every password without success. Jenny became more worried, remembering her last conversation with Suzy. The police wouldn't investigate if the body was gone. Feeling guilty for the chain of events, Jenny realized she had a part in it. Lara finally hired a specialist to open the safe and discovered stacks of cash, gold, and silver. She decided to give it to Kim to get rid of him. Suzy supported her, reassuring her that nothing would go wrong. Kim went to the mountain, taking pictures of himself there, claiming he was searching and wouldn't leave until he found what he was looking for. Lara, fearing exposure, watched as Suzy prepared the money to give Kim $3 billion to finally settle everything. By coincidence, Jenny was nearby and secretly followed them. She watched Suzy and Kim head toward the mountain. Suzy gave Kim half the money. When he asked for the rest, she said it would come later. Then she drugged him and waited until he passed out. At that moment, Suzy made her final choice. This nightmare had to end. At the same time, Jenny messaged messaged Kim, no reply. That's when she knew something was wrong. She was sure the man with Suzy was not her brother. Afraid her real brother was already dead, she kept following them. Kim suddenly woke up, attacked Suzy, and caused a car crash. After making sure she was injured, he ran and searched for another car. By chance, Jenny drove past. She froze. The man looked exactly like Song. She stared too long. Kim noticed. When he saw her face, he remembered her from Song's phone. He realized the truth. She was a police officer and Song's sister. Kim tried to escape. Jenny chased him, overpowered him, and took his phone. Inside were photos of Song. She demanded answers. Kim stayed silent. Meanwhile, Lara tried calling Suzy again and again. No answer. She panicked, sure Kim had heard her. Jenny went home and rewatched the airport footage. This time, she saw it. The man who flew to China had a tattoo on his back. Song never had one. That's when the truth hit her. Song never left the country. Kim did. Song was already dead, and Lara and Suzy were involved. She also found photos of Lara's injuries, years of abuse. Everything started to make sense. Jin found Suzy, rescued her, gave first aid, and called Lara. When Lara saw Suzy's condition, she broke down. Suzy told her it was her own decision. Then Jin revealed the real horror. Kim was a fugitive. He had murdered his entire family in China. He manipulated everyone, stole their money, and was still extremely dangerous. Jin said they needed a real plan. Jenny hid Kim in the garage at her mother's house, telling her mother never to go down there. She wanted silence, at least until she got her promotion. Later, Jin discovered Kim was last seen in a car registered to Jenny. Lara realized Jenny knew everything and was hiding him. The garage was the answer. Jenny got promoted, but now Kim had to disappear. Quietly, she began watching Suzy and Lara. Suzy couldn't wait anymore. She went to the house, entered the garage, dragged Kim out, and drove away. When Jin found out, he was furious. Kim was too dangerous. Jenny chased them. Jin locked Kim inside a warehouse, planning to send him back to China. But Kim manipulated the guard, promised him money, escaped, and killed him without hesitation. Kim kidnapped Jenny and forced her to search the mountain for Song's body. Jenny finally snapped, knocked him out, and dragged him back to the warehouse. Meanwhile, Lara prepared fake passports to escape with Suzy. The police arrived to question her about the missing guard. After they left, Jenny sent Lara photos from the mountain and blackmailed her, accusing her of killing Song. Lara collapsed and begged her not to arrest Suzy. Jenny agreed, on one condition: Lara would take all the blame. Lara said goodbye to Suzy in secret. She stole a car, caused a crash, and left a confession letter. Jenny arrived believing Lara was dead. She thought she had won, but Jin and Suzy found Lara and saved her. The truth finally came out. Video evidence showed Song alive with the guard before disappearing. Jenny's promotion was revoked. Her mother discovered the truth. The man she protected was not her son. In rage, she killed Kim. Jin had already called the police. Jenny and her mother were arrested and sentenced to 12 years. Suzy confessed. 1 year and a fine. Lara confessed. 2 years. After prison, Lara and Suzy were free. Together with Jin, they moved to the Philippines and opened a small rice pudding shop. Years later, it became the best in the country. Lara opened her art gallery. Suzy built her own business. Jin protected them like family. They changed Lara's destiny. After years of fear and violence, hope finally won.